Well, hello everybody, and welcome to week 2 of the Grounding Protection and Clearing Masterclass. And there is only masters here in this class. We are all masters of clearing, grounding, and protecting. We just need a bit of reminding sometimes, and it's a knowledge and a wisdom that can be shared through all of us. Each and every one of us could teach each other a thing or two about cleaning, grounding, and protecting things. Last week, we had a really great session on cleaning, grounding, and protecting ourselves. And I've got another meditation to add on to the cleaning, grounding, and protecting for the self, which I'll do later on today. Today, I wanted also to look at clearing, grounding, and protecting the space that we're in and objects. Because just as we ourselves have energy bodies that need cleansing and grounding and protecting, and physical bodies that need that, we've also got objects and houses and buildings and rooms and energetic structures that also need cleansing, grounding, and protecting. In terms of looking at the world energetically, everything that has a vibration has an energetic force to it. So if you think about our own energetic vibrations, how we work with so many levels to heal those, we've also got levels of energy in solid things as well. Take a crystal, for example, whose energetic body is deeply alive. Crystals are frozen vibration, really solid, pure vibrations that have come together. So the density of their energetic bodies is huge, even bigger perhaps than a human energetic body. And I hate to say it, but the remote control also has an energetic body because it too is vibration. Lots and lots of things have vibration. So you've got glass definitely has a vibration. And of course, the more alive the object or the closer to its natural state, the more powerful its vibration is. So, for example, take plants and flowers. They have absolutely a astronomical size vibration around them. They've got a life force. Anything that's growing and anything that is in absolute growth state has a life force. Everything is in a state of change. There is nothing that isn't living on either the growth or the decline side of the spectrum. And physics teaches us that as well, where we've got the rates of decay, the decaying rates of things, or the growth rates of things. So our intention for the workshop tonight is to learn more about clearing, grounding, and protecting for ourselves and also the environments in which we live in. Because part of energetic work isn't only looking at our own individual lives, it's about looking at the life of the earth, the life of the animals, the life of everything that's interconnected with us. And so everybody will find their own style that resonates with their own energy in terms of cleaning, grounding, and protecting things. And energy work is so personal. It's the truth is that the meaning and significance of anything is its power. So the power of anything is in its meaning and significance. That means if you make it meaningful and significant, it has power. And we'll talk through so many different ways to work with the energetic cleaning, grounding, and protection. But ultimately, it's about noticing when you feel cleaning, grounding, and protecting is needed, And also it's about learning different ways to clean ground and protect things. So it's essential to clean ground and protect spaces and objects to ensure that energy flows freely. It remains stable and it doesn't become stagnant or get infiltrated by negative influences. Like the dog who wants to come in. In or out? In. Oh, no, she's decided to go out. Make sure she wants to be on one side or the other of the door. She can never make her mind up. And so energy is everywhere, like I say, in everything. And it also spreads out and inhabits rooms. So the room that you're in is full of energy. Not only energy, it will be filled full of memories. Memories are thought forms, and thoughts have power, memories have power. The meaning of everything around you and the power of the meaning of everything around you, where you're sitting, has been created by you. This, for example, piece of burnt wood, but it's also Palo Santo, which is a piece of a sacred tree, which is sacred. I've given it a sacred power. It's also something that I use to clean and protect things around me. So I've given it a meaning. But technically, a child could walk in and say, what's that burnt bit of wood? The meaning of that piece of Palo Santo has been given by me. So that means two things. It means I can give it more power or I can take its power away. So the power of anything around you has been given by you. Now, if you look at that in terms of the people who have power over you, the question is raised, how much of that power that they have over you have you given them? So a good phrase to use to start cleaning things in your space is to say, I have given this Palo Santo all the meaning it has to me. Look around your room and just say that phrase to everything you see. Come in, Maya. Come on. I have given this crystal all of the meaning that it has to me. And then you could even go a step further and consider looking at things and saying, this crystal is meaningless. And then you're clearing its meaning. So when you're clearing the meaning of an object, you're looking at the object and you're saying, this singing bowl has the power of this singing bowl has been bestowed by me. I have given it all of the meaning that it has to me. And then the next step is to clear that meaning away. This singing bowl is meaningless. And that's hard to clean the singing bowl of meaning because it means so much to me, but I'm clearing it completely. This singing bowl is meaningless. Then I'm going to add a meaning to it. Today, when I play this singing bowl, it will mean that I'm sending out pure love to all sentient beings. So I've now charged it with a meaning. I've cleared it of its meaning and I've given it a new meaning, a new purpose. And how often do we look around the space that we're in and we've got very, very old objects that we haven't recharged or refreshed? So what I did just then with the singing bowl was I recharged it. I recharged the energy of it. And I did it very basically and very simply. And the next part to grow the energy and grow the charge that I put into that singing bowl would be to play it and work my intention through it. So actually play it, and through playing it actually send out that loving vibration to all sentient beings. So I'm now adding the purpose to the power that I've given the singing bowl, therefore growing its meaning. So now this singing bowl doesn't just mean it's a instrument that sends love out to all sentient beings. It's an instrument that I used to send out love to all sentient beings on the 11th of September 2024 at 18:56 p.m. And you know what I would do to mark that? I would write it down. So I'm going to recommend that you also keep a journal of all the times you used a certain power object to perform a task. So you're building a history of the times when you used something for its purpose. You know, so you can say, on this day, I used that singing bowl to do its purpose, and its purpose was this. So that's something which is going to help you grow a journal and an understanding of why you're using your tools of power. So you imbue the tool with a power, but then you can also take it away from it. Never forget that. You can always take and clean the intention or the power away from something and start again if you're the one who gave it its power. So signs of energetic build-up in a space. We clear spaces because we want to remove sticky energies. We want to allow things to flow. If things don't flow, they become stagnant, and that goes for anything. If you collect a lot of something and you're not moving it around or using it, it's going to become stagnant. You need to touch everything that you own. And if you've got a lot of touching to do, then you've got to think about how much you own. You need to touch, I would recommend you touch everything you own at least once a month, minimum. Everything that you think that you say is yours, touch it. Because you have accumulated it with a sense of desire, and that sense of desire has given your object a piece of power. When you've or even accepted a gift, you've given it a piece of your own meaning, and that meaning that you give it is actually a piece of power. So all meaning is power. So make sure that you're going around looking after the items that you've added your power into. And if you need to get rid of a few things, you can clear the meaning from the thing before you send it away. Because that leads us on to another thing. Whenever you add meaning to something, if you add a lot of sentiment and a lot of meaning to something, and you give it away or somebody else takes it, they're actually taking a fragment of your astral self. You see, you've got your super divine self, which is the identity of divine identity, which becomes shrouded in the astral body, which is the court of feelings and thoughts, the mental court. Then that mental court of feelings and thoughts will draw power from your divine self and put it onto the object. So when you pass an object on that you've added your emotion into, you're actually passing on a piece of yourself in the object. When you receive something from someone, you're receiving a piece of that person in the object. If you want to pass something on without meaning, for example, you're selling it or you're giving it to a charity shop, you don't know where it's going to end up. You need to protect and clear that object of its meaning before you give it away, because it's carrying a part of your astral self. And you can just state, I clear this, whatever it is. I clear this, I'm giving this to a charity shop. Dita Von Teese, Strip Tease, Blicker Book. So, and I found it in a box, so it's going to a charity shop. And before I give it to a charity shop, I will say, I clean this object of all the meaning and power that I've given it. This object doesn't mean anything to me. And then it's going to the charity shop, you see. If I hadn't done that and I gave it over, it would still have the meaning that I received it with. So it's still a piece of me. So a lot of people give things away to charity and goodwill without doing that, obviously, because not many people are like us, consciously aware of the energy of things. So that says when you do accept or take something that's second hand or even something that's new, you should still clear it. I clear this from all of the meaning that this had prior to me receiving it. Because, I mean, it's like everything is mass produced these days. And when things are mass produced, the care and consciousness that goes into things that are mass produced is very little. And in fact, it's quite greedy. Mass production and commodification of things is a greed driven thing. So when you do pick something up, clear it. It might take you at the first round you do this when you walk around touching everything and cleaning everything and giving everything a bit of your energy. It's going to take a while, but eventually it will become second nature. It's a bit like blessing your food. So every time you eat food, you're going to want to bless your food as well. And the first round of blessing will be to remove anything that's noxious and detrimental to you in terms of energy, and to add in qualities of purity, of cleanness, of goodness, and of nutrition. So you'll go through that ritual a few times and do it quite mindfully, consciously, until it becomes autopilot. It'll become automatic for you. So eventually you won't have to be consciously thinking what you're doing. You will just pass your hand over it. It's like creating a sigil. So when you've got a sigil of anything, a sigil is a symbol which is imbued with a lot of meaning and a lot of thought, but it's condensed down into a single shape. All of the meaning and thought is still within that sigil, but it will probably take you 1 second to draw the sigil. Whereas when you're creating it, it takes a much longer process. So it's the same with blessing things and clearing things. Eventually, you're going to pick things up and you'll just know what's happening when you wave your hand over them. It'll become completely second nature. Signs of energetic build-up in a room can be feeling heaviness or tension in a room just by walking into it. And then objects, perhaps there are some objects that you have around you that make you feel drained. Perhaps you feel something is heavy, or perhaps you haven't looked or touched something for a long time. And that could be a sign that the energy in it needs clearing if you're ignoring it or not looking at it. Sometimes if you have unexplained fatigue or mood shifts in a certain place, you're going to need to clear the energy of that place. Or if you have difficulty focusing or sleeping in specific rooms, you will want to clear the energy of the space. And some great ways to clean the energy of the space are the Ho'oponopono practice, which is repeating the mantra, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, and then walking around and then waiting in the space until you feel that energetic build up, or that the feeling of heaviness or tension, or that the object you're holding no longer feels that it's draining or has a stuck energy. So you can do that in any space, and that is repeating that mantra, that statement so many times until you feel the state change within you. When you go into a room or a space, if it's an empty space, you start to gain rapport with the space around you. Your vibration is moving into a room and your vibration is merging with the vibration of the room. If you're starting to feel a resistance in you being in the room, that's because there's a clash between your energy and the energy of the room. It just takes time for your energy and the energy of the room to merge so that it feels like it's cleared. And by standing there and repeating those mantras, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, they're power statements. They're speaking to any of the astral fragments that might be in the room. So it could be that before you walked into the room, there was a huge argument or a big, very serious meeting, or perhaps there was some kind of event going on in there, such as like a big big band party, and people were drinking in there, and you might be going in there to do a spiritual practice. You need to change the energy state. You need to clear it. And so when you do that eventually and gradually, and you repeat those mantras, your energy vibration is changing the vibration in the room until you feel comfortable. Therefore, it's cleansed and it's ready to go. You can clear energy as well with sound, and we know that sound clears energy massively. You know, even chanting sounds, playing singing bowls, walking around to if you're drawn to it, if you're looking for energy that needs to be cleared, if your intention is to clear energy, you will be drawn to the energy that needs to be cleared. So, for example, if you have a singing bowl or if you have an instrument and you're in a room and you want to walk around and break the energy up, I'm drawn there. I'm usually drawn, let me just tilt my camera up so you can see what I'm doing a bit more. I'm usually drawn to spaces that have got corners or that are joins. So the corners of a room are potentially as well gateways into the betwixt and between realms. So they're always good places to clear with sound. So you can see that space up there. And I would do that in all the corners of any room, because or anywhere where shadows are cast as well. They're quite big places to go. You can't see me over here in this corner, but I'm doing it in that corner as well. And even here beside, there's a space beside my bookcase, which has got a bit of a shadow to it as well. I'm definitely going to clear that. Just because energy will be stuck there. And I'm not only, so the meaning that I'm adding to this is that I am sending intention through the sound. So my intention is to clear energy that's stuck. I'm creating the sound, and my intention, my will, is sending that sound into things to clear them. That is absolutely enough to clear things. Now, if you want to find out what needs cleaning and where needs cleaning, and you've got a pendulum, you can draw a plan of your house out on a piece of paper, and using your left hand, put your finger on top of one of the rooms, and with your pendulum in your right hand, see if you get a yes or a no answer. That's funny, that stopped moving around. I wonder what area of the room that was when I'm not even pointing at anything. And then when I moved it down, it stopped moving. There's clearly some kind of invisible map in front of me about the house. So then when I find a room that needs clearing with my pendulum, I'm then going to go in to write, is it physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, I'm going to start to dowse, and I've got a great book which has got some wonderful tables in, but it's all in French. You can get for pendulums a dowsing book which will have all of these maps in, and I'll show you an example of one. Here. So you would, and you can buy these in English for sure, dowsing maps. So then once I'd found the room, I'd get my dowsing map, and then I would say, what kind of cleansing do I need to do? For example, this one has got a whole list of potentially energy disturbing objects. For example, the memories in the walls, clothes that need clearing, furniture, and antique mirrors and furnitures, antique jewelry, African masks, diverse antiques. All of these things are potentially needing clearing. They're all listed on this table. And now, like I say, you can get these tables in English in lots of books, in lots of places. So then I would be looking for what needs clearing. You can be so specific and really pinpoint down to the actual object that needs clearing. Oh, Maya, are you okay? She see her fall off the windowsill. She's after the cats. Now, that pendulum dowsing technique is a great way to find out where and what needs clearing without actually having to get up and walk around. I also know ways to do this with tarot cards. You can use tarot decks to find out the directions and the issues that are in each room based on the elements. So, for example, if you pull out wands when you're doing a north, south, east, west spread for the house, if you've got wands in the north, then there's potentially going to be some issue with heat in that area of the house. If you pull the 10 of wands, then that's definitely a lot of heat in a certain area of the house. I've often done this for people in their houses and pulled water cards, so cups, pulled out cups from the tarot deck and found out that they say, yes, there is a really cold, wet draft in that part of the room. What can we do to clear it? Well, you can go to the space and you can clear it with the energy. With a singing bowl, with chanting. You can clear it with smoke. So smudging is a great way. This is a bit of a well-used smudging stick, and you can make these yourself with many herbs. This is a sage herb to get the smudge going. You want to light the smudge stick. Sometimes it will set on fire, but you're not to walk around with the smudge stick on fire. If it does light up, then blow out the fire so that it's just sending out smoke. So just being really clear there for people who might be watching the rerun. When you light a smudge stick, you do not walk around with it on fire. You blow out the flame so that the smoke then comes out, and that is the smudge. Now, I would recommend always that you have a plate or something metal around with you, or even a shell, an abalone shell. A lot of people use a seashell to walk around so that it collects any debris or any parts of the smudging stick that are still alight, and going in an anti-clockwise motion around the room. That is going to remove anything that needs to be removed, and then going clockwise, that's going to add the good energies in. Anytime you remove an energy, you want to add an energy in its place, always. Otherwise, you're leaving a vacuum open, you're leaving an empty space for potentially anything to go and inhabit. You can cleanse with salt as well. So you don't need, it's not only sage that you can use for smoking. You can get some Palo Santo sticks. You can use incense sticks. You can use resin on charcoal discs. Any of those things you can go around and clean with. And when you're cleansing with smoke, if you notice the smoke is either sticking to or avoiding a particular area, that means that area needs some work. So if the smoke is sticking to the area, it means that it needs you to inject some energy into it. And if the smoke is avoiding an area, it means you need to remove some energy from it. You can also clear with salt. Salt has been used historically for energy clearing, and it absorbs negative energy. So you can use salt bowls. You can create really pretty salt bowls, and you can even add dried flowers or herbs into your salt bowls, and you can just leave them in the corners of the room. Salt bowls. You can even use salt lines across the entrances to spaces. So the entrance to a room or the entrance to your house. Now, salt is a crystal. It's a highly absorbent crystal, so it will absorb the energies that you give it. So you should, first of all, charge the salt. And I would even recommend that you charge salt that you put into your food. When you put the salt into your hand, it's a crystal that we eat. Charge the salt that you have in your hand with life force energy. Now, how do you charge things with life force energy? You have to know that your hands are giving off energy constantly. So these hands that you have, I've burnt my arm on a pan. These hands that you have are constantly giving out energy through the chakras. The left hand is more of a magnetic energy, so it's drawing things into it. And the right hand is a radiant energy, so it's sending energy out of it. So if you hold some salt, you're holding anything there, even a crystal, a small crystal. Holding it in there is holding it in this cocoon and vacuum of magnetic and radiant energy. My life force is going into this crystal now. As the life force is going into the crystal, I'm going to send an intention into it. The intention is that this is used to absorb negative energy. I'm going to recite a beautiful salt blessing, which I hope I've still got it up. Yes, I do. This salt blessing is from something called Quaria, and I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. Quaria is an online. Oh, Catherine Thompson, isn't it? I'm sending it to the wrong person. There. You don't have to look on it now because I'm going to read it out. But this link, Quaria, is an online mystical school, really, and it's all for free online. You study your way through the courses of it. It's very in depth, and it's a very deep study, deep work. It's magical work. But in here there is a salt blessing that I use when I put it into the bathtub. So there's salt blessing for a ritual cleansing of a person. And it's such a beautiful one. I'm going to read it out for you now. So you would recite this over a bowl of salt. So I'll put this crystal into the bowl while pointing with the first two fingers of your right hand. And this is old language for doing this work. I exercise thee, creature of the earth, by the living gods and the holy gods and the omnipotent gods, that thou mayest be purified of all evil influence in the name of Adonai, Lord of all angels and men. creature of the earth, adore thy Creator. In the name of God the Father and God the Mother, I bless thee and consecrate thee to the service of divinity. And then over the bath, to get the bath ready, and it's great to have this ritual as you go into a bath. Point your 2 fingers of your right hand at the bath water and repeat the same. I exorcise thee, creature of the water, by the living gods and the holy gods and the omnipotent gods, that thou mayest be purified of all evil influence in the name of Elohim Sabaoth, Lord of all angels and men. Creature of the water, adore thy Creator. In the name of God the Father and God the Mother, I consecrate thee to the service of divinity. And then as you're pouring the salt into the bath, you'd say, Lord God, Father of the heavens above, great Goddess, Mother of the earth, grant that this salt will make for health of the body and this water for health of my soul. And then pour the salt into the water. Grant that they may be banished from whence they are used. All powers of adversity, every artifice of evil shall be banished into the outer darkness in thy holy names. Amen. This is a powerful ritual for cleansing. And then whilst you are over the bath that's been mixed with the water, the next phrase in the workbook is, in the names which are above every other name, and in the power of the Almighty, and of the Mother, and of the Holy Spirits, I exorcise all influences and seeds of evil from the person who will bathe in this bath. I exorcise all demons, parasites, thought forms, golems, all ghosts. I exorcise all spiritual dirt and evil influence. I exorcise all magical attacks, all spells, curses, and bindings sent by other magicians. I cast upon them all the spell chains, and I cast them into the outer darkness, where they shall trouble not these servants of God. Amen. Amen. Selah. And then you get into the bath and make sure that you have a good bath under that water. That's an example of a really profound and deep cleansing ritual. And I feel like cleansed just by reading it. It's incredible. The words have such a cleansing power. And you can amend, like I say, the power of a thing is in its meaning and significance. So if you wanted to use that from the Quarrier course and change the words a little bit or add more words in, then go for it. But I really recommend you experience that salt bath with blessed water and blessed salt and the intention of clearing so much. And so you can also use that same salt once you've blessed it. You can bless it simply and basically. I bless this salt to be cleansing and to absorb negative energies from this space so that it may bring into it all goodness and all pure energies, and then go around and sprinkle the salt around. But clean the salt up after about 3 days, because the salt will be absorbing all of the negative energy that you've asked it to, and then you need to clear the salt away. You can also use the intention of light to cleanse, so you can visualize bright white or bright golden light entering the space of the object, dissolving any negative energies. And we can even try it, we can do that now. We will have a go at visualizing bright white clearing and filling the room that we're in at the moment. Or if you wish to use an object to clear an object with the visualization of light, then hold an object. I'm going to hold this crystal and give it clearing. So what I'm doing here is I'm closing my eyes. I have to tell you, so much is going on right now, and I'm not even saying anything. I've only closed my eyes. So I've got to explain to you what's going on when I close my eyes, okay? So closing my eyes, I'm connected completely to this object, to this crystal, and the crystal is completely connected to me. And so I'm now visualizing being inside this crystal, because I'm connected to it and it's connected to me. The etheric force, the astral force, and the physical force are all merging together. And this is what happens when you pick up a crystal, by the way. The effects are immense. And as I'm in the center of this crystal, or if I was in the center of the room that I wish to send the white light energy out to, I'm going to visualize, like we did last week, a column of light coming from the earth, rising up through my spine, emerging from the crown of my head, going all the way up into the heavens, where it reaches a single point of light. Feeling the vibrations of the earth pulsating through the roots of me. Feeling the pulsing of the star above me. Sending down into the ground those boulders, those grounding boulders which are attaching my feet into the earth and attaching the base of my spine as well. Solid and grounded. As I sit, I exist in the center of this crystal or this room, and I open my heart to send out white cleansing light into this room or this crystal. And I focus on releasing energy through my hands, releasing energy through my heart, releasing energy through all of my energy centers as I remain connected to the great light. And now in my mind, the light that I'm sending out is penetrating all the layers of this crystal. So if you're doing your room, you can imagine that the energy you're sending out is penetrating all the layers of the room. So the furniture, underneath the furniture, behind the furniture, into the walls. And I'm also creating a bubble around the crystal and around the room that I might be clearing. So if the room is a square, you've got a square within a circle. And as I'm protecting and clearing a room, I'm going to program the energy that I'm clearing this with, so that the energy itself is absorbed into the room and it's no longer connected to my life force. So that when I leave the room, I'm not energetically connected to the energy that I've shared from Source. And then I allow my consciousness to withdraw back into my heart center, back into all my energy centers, returning from that great white light in the sky back into the body. And then I look at the object that I've got in my hand and it looks very bloody shiny and clean. Everything does. Everything looks shiny. Everything looks shiny cleaner. Have a look. If you've been holding an object when you did that exercise, have another look at it. Does it appear cleaner and clearer to you, or do you feel like you need to go back in and do that work a second time? Does it need a second clean? Sometimes you put your plates in the dishwasher and you've got to wash them again. That gets on my nerves, that does. Same with it's the same with the energy clearing of things. I mean that, and I also remember when I first learned this technique, we also did it just by blowing energy down onto a crystal. And then blowing energy into the crystal. I've just cleared it. And then charge it up. Remember, the power of an act is in the intention and the meaning. And the more you practice that act, the stronger it becomes. So passing your hands over things to clear them, passing your hand over to charge them. And so grounding helps keep places stable and secure as well. Energetically, it's a good idea to ground as well as clearing places and things. We can also ground places and things as well. We can imagine that we've got boulders in the corners of rooms. We can place grounding crystals in the corners of rooms. Do be aware, however, that you can be too grounded. If you ground something too much, it's quite restrictive. That's down to your feeling as to how grounded something is, okay? You can be too grounded, it's true. You can also, visualize an earth grid. So visualize the energy of the room. How do you do that? Well, remembering you can look at the energy of a room as well. And when you're looking at the energy of the room, if you've imagined boulders or grounding crystals in the corner of the room, you also want to imagine that you're connecting them. So you can point to them and point an energy line to connect them. Whenever you're creating a crystal grid, you also should be connecting energy through the crystals. Usually with your finger or with, if you feel confident enough with it, with an energy from your third eye, so you're connecting just by looking. You can connect to all corners of the room as well. And once you know the layout of a room, you can even connect it by imagining that energy going around it. Purpose of connecting a grid around a room is grounding and protection. So you are using your own astral energy to ground and protect something. Astral energy is not physical energy, it's the energy of thought. And the more you know about astral energy, the more you can use it to create and hold space, literally by grounding it and sending your intentions around it to make it so. So if you know a room really well, you can do that same exercise with your eyes closed, visualizing the space. That's me sitting down with my eyes closed on the video. I forget how funny it must look that I just sit down with my eyes closed, but so much is going on when we close our eyes. How many people don't know how much you can do with your eyes closed? It's amazing. Really good. I'm going to have a little pause and just open up for shares or reflections now because I've chatted. Great. Oh, that is fantastic. And thank you for showing us the Tesla plate, Heather. That was really great. I thought that was really interesting. It's a plate made out of aluminium which contains an intention, an energetic symbol as well, which has the meaning of cleaning and clearing things, transmuting energy as well. And that moves us nicely on to protection grids. So you can place protective stones like black tourmaline, selenite, or obsidian in a geometric pattern to create a protective energy shield. Now you can do that on a big scale or you can do it on a small scale. If you wanted to write your name on a piece of paper or make a little clay model of yourself and put it in the center and put those crystals, if you've got small crystals, put those crystals around yourself and then you draw the lines energetically through the crystal, then you're creating a protection grid around yourself. If you wanted to do it on a large scale, you could put the crystals around you in the room that you're in and lie down in them. You know, one of the most wonderful things to do for me with crystals is to make a either six-pointed star or a five-pointed star or even half moon shape and then lie down in it after you've connected it energetically. So you would just get 6 crystals or 5 if you're doing a pentacle and put them in a large shape around you. Draw the shape into the crystals so they touch in the points and then lie down in it. So amazingly healing. Like Moonstone, I remember particularly doing that with Moonstone, and I was visited by these mystical Moonstone women who were surrounding me, one at each crystal. And I have to say that was no substances whatsoever, just with crystals. I am very proud of the fact that that all of my spiritual experiences have come from non-use of substance. It's proof that you don't need substances to have these experiences. It really is. And in fact, the majority of indigenous medicine people and spiritual workers don't use plant medicines either. Very, very few, a small percentage of shamanic workers across the globe actually use plant medicines for what they do. Yes, so create crystal grids on a big scale or a small scale for protection. If you're feeling that you need a cleansing and a protection, make a grid, make a circle of crystals, lie down in the middle of it and just meditate or wait for the crystal energy to work on you. Yes, Heather?
I use like some selenite. There's some long sticks of selenite, a bit like what we got the other night, and I put those around the couch when I'm doing certain treatments because I think that's a nice way to sort of like re-energize the person as well, and to kind of like take any negative energy away from them.
Yeah, selenite's really absorbent and clearing because of its reflective properties as well. So that's a great idea to do that. You can put crystals underneath the bed that you're treating people on, and you can even have sacred geometry patterns drawn. So you can print them off online or you can draw them yourself and use them in the room you're working in or around the person. So there's the Metatron's cube, which you can have. You can either go through drawing your own, which is an amazing process. Drawing the Metatron's cube yourself is such a clearing and protective process because your consciousness goes into drawing each of the circles that you need to make in order to get the exact points that you need to connect to create the cube. And that is how you create a talisman as well. You're putting your energy into that talisman. You can have the talisman of, you know, the Nordic helm of Or, which is the circle with the rune staves in the center of it. There are many Viking rune staves that you can use for many different meanings. There's obviously the flower of life as well. You can draw a flower of life using a compass, or you can draw it, if you're very patient and very clever, around 2p pieces, which I did before. When I was working in an office, didn't do any work that day. I just drew the flower of life around 2p pieces and then framed it and put it up on my office wall. It served its purpose. It protected me whilst I was at work, and it protected the office as well greatly. Yeah, and once you've done those, you can put your water onto those images that you've drawn or that you've created, or even make a house out of clay, natural products. Make a house out of clay that is a representation of your house, and put that house on top of the grid. You know, if you make smaller versions of things and you have the intention that that is the thing itself, then that's going to send that protection energy out. It's all about working with that astral energy and using the mixture of astral energy to create things, because that level of existence is there. It's where your thoughts are. Thoughts aren't physical things, they exist. So too does the energy and the power behind them. Everything that exists has movement, has power, and is moving, has energy, has a life force. You can visualize as well light shields, and we can use light shields themselves. So actual shield of power, which you can visualize in front of you or around you, and see golden or white light. Golden light, white light, silver light, all great colors to use. Also, purple light is a transmutive energy. Do you want to go out? She's up and down like a mad woman. Whoa. I think it's dinner time for her. Plant-based grids, using plants in grids. So live plants such as rosemary and sage, all plants have got protective energies. You can use plants around spaces to create protection. How do you do that? Well, you find a layout that you feel is protective, create it, connect it. And then once you've connected something, you want to charge it with the intention. So you can just hold your hands up to it and just visualize your intention flowing from your hands into the grid. And you'll get an energy, you'll get a vital energy surge whilst you're doing that. You'll get an excitement surge, or some people feel like it feels a little bit like a panic surge or a flutter in your heart or your stomach. But when you're doing it, that vital energy surge is the energy going into what you've created. Plant-based grids are great to use. Physical crystal grids, they do absorb and emit energy, but make sure that you've cleansed each of the crystals in the grid before you use it. So you can clean it with smoke, with sound, with salt, with water, with moonlight or sunlight, or with your breath. Smoke cleansing can be done with sage or Palo Santo or with any incense. Sound cleansing can be done with a bell or a singing bowl, or even some tinctures. Like always keep some tinctures with you wherever you go. Just more things to add into your handbag. You probably can't hear it because the original sound isn't there. These are lovely tinctures.
Oh, yeah.
They will clear things and also send out intention programming into things as well. Working with salt, as we've discussed, salt is a natural earthly substance, and you can bless the salt, use it then to clean and protect and to cleanse the crystal. You can put crystals inside salt or inside salt water to cleanse them. You can also put a crystal inside over running water so that the water runs over the crystal to cleanse it. And you can also cleanse crystal by putting them under the earth, leaving them in the ground. But be careful, because crystals that you put into the earth sometimes have a habit of disappearing and going back into the earth. Moonlight and sunlight can also recharge the stones, but be careful with certain stones in sunlight, such as amethyst or citrine, any clear stones that have a colour, because sunlight will fade the colour, whether it's natural or irradiated. Sunlight will dye out the colour. Moonlight will never do that though. And then reset your intention before you set every crystal onto the grid, so you can reset your intention every time you add a crystal onto the grid. And then when you've finished with the grid, you can pack it away in the same bundle. So whatever crystals you've used in the grid, wrap them up carefully and keep them together. Put a label on them to say what you're using that set of crystals for, and put on it as well the dates when you've used it and what you used it to do. So you've got a history of that sacred tool that you've used, and use them all together all the time so that they become, for example, the energizing grid, or the purifying grid, or the joy grid, or the love grid, etc. Anything that you use them for. Let's do a lovely clearing for ourselves now. And I'm going to use some of the cleansing statements from this book, Dear God, What's Happening to Us, by Lynn Grabhorn. So this is clearing for ourselves. So let's move into this lovely clearing meditation. So first of all, I'd like you to make yourself comfortable wherever you are. Notice your points of contact between the surface beneath you and yourself. This meditation is going to refer to the light of God. And the light of God is the light of the source of light. So when you think of God in this, come to terms with the word God and have it mean that this is about the source of light and a source of creation, whether that source is within you or external to you. That source exists, and that's the point that these statements refer to, these clearing statements. So first of all, I'd like you to send down into the ground those boulders. Send the boulders down into the ground. Feel them sink through the earth, through the layers of the earth, through the crystal caves in the earth, right down into the core of the earth, moving from your feet, one boulder for each foot. Send those down now. Feel your feet become solid and rooted to the ground. And a third boulder. Imagine that there's a boulder placed on top of a lift, and this lift is going down a mine shaft into the earth, and this boulder is connected to the base of your spine. And there's a control you have that allows this mine shaft to sink into the earth, and it takes the boulder down with it. The mine shaft has got transparent glass all the way down, so you can see the layers of the earth which this boulder is moving and travelling through, deep, deep into the deepest earth, as it grounds you and holds you connected to the earth. And you begin to feel waves of energy moving through, vibrations moving through the connection that you have from the rock to the earth. And as you sit strong and secure, you feel waves of energy moving from the base of your spine and your feet up your body. And imagine this energy growing upwards. Allow it to grow through the sacral center, the solar plexus center, your heart center. With each breath, the energy moves upwards, using the breath as a fountain energy to pull the energy further up, pressure with each breath, to the throat chakra, the third eye, and finally, as it reaches the crown, allow it to extend upwards into the sky, further above the room you're sitting in, up, up and up into the star system, reaching towards a single point of light. A single point of light that exists beyond time, beyond space, pulsing and glowing with its own energy. And as you slowly and surely reach this pulsar, you're connected to it already. And its energy moves down through you, down to the earth, and you can see the pulsar energy as it beams through you as a tunnel, as an intermediary between heaven and earth, reaching the groundedness that you've created. And as you float there, held in this beam of celestial light, you spread your arms wide open and allow this beam of light to travel through your heart center and shine directly down to the earth, sending through pure love and intentions. And from here we're going to work on the following statements, which are going to clear our energies. From the light of God that I am, I hereby declare that my team of guides shall be, as soon as any necessary transference can be made, be comprised only of members of 100% pure light, who have never been reprogrammed by entities of the dark. From the light of God that I am, I hereby declare the entity that is my primary guide shall be an entity of 100% pure light that has never been reprogrammed by entities of the dark, with such change, if necessary, to be made as soon as possible. From the light of God that I am, I hereby declare that my consciousness mix should be converted, if necessary, to a mix of 100% pure light of entities that have never been programmed by those of the dark. I further declare that this conversion should take place as soon as possible, but preferably during evening hours as I sleep, and as gently as possible, in order that I might continue my normal daily routines. From the light of God that I am, I call forth that all things, whether animate or inanimate, within or around me, my home, my yard or place of business, be immediately deactivated from use as directional beacons by those who are not of 100% pure light. I further declare that when this has been accomplished, it shall be irrevocable and permanent. From the light of God that I am, I call forth that no energies, entities, or beings are to be allowed anywhere around me at any time that are not of 100% pure light. I further declare this to be irrevocable and permanent. From the light of God that I am, be it known that I hereby cancel all contracts and or agreements I have made with any entity in any time frame or in any reality that were not in my best interest or in the interest of the light, or that were made with entities who were not of 100% pure light. I further declare that the cancellation of all such contracts is to be irrevocable and permanent in all time frames and realities. Don't ever ask for guidance without demanding that what comes through be only of 100% pure light, or declaring, be in the name of light always. Having made these declarations, allow yourself to close down the energy center from your heart as it is cleared in all frames and all times. Travel back down through the column of light to the earth where you found yourself grounded and situated in the room that you're in. Allow your light to be protected and covered, and to be at a size which is appropriate to this time. And as you do that, bring yourself back into conscious awareness of the situation, the place you're sitting in, and open your eyes. That is a very powerful clearing and cancellation of any agreements or any meanings that you've given and placed upon things. It's really a powerful declaration of independence and moving with 100% pure light.